One day I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed and I was so sick, and that's when I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's. And the doctors have said that to me. They've said, we believe the trauma you experienced is why your body started attacking itself.
What's something that God was doing that maybe the world doesn't know?
I did not create the cauliflower pizza. I created it to serve the person I once was, which was a sick person. Nobody likes cauliflower. It wasn't a vegetable that people, ate very often. And here I am making a cauliflower pizza crust. You know how many no's I got? And then cauliflower became a multi-billion-dollar category. And by the end of 2017, we'd done 5.3 million in sales. And it was all God.
I got to pause because
Okay.
this is like a teaching moment
Yes.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Stories sell. I've seen so many really good people stop before they're going to become great.
And why do you think that is? I have a theory on it. I think it's because they get...
She survived childhood trauma, beat lupus, created the first ever cauliflower pizza crust. This woman is incredible. Amy Lacey is here today. We're actually doing her brand at FD House, but she dives deep in this episode, sharing a lot about forgiveness, actually, what has held her back and where she is going in 2026. I think you're going to really get excited in this episode to go out there, build your God-given passions, and hopefully make God your CEO. Sit back, relax, and let's welcome Amy Lacey to Called and Crowned. Amy, the world knows the cauliflower pizza headline. Whoopi knows from The View, right? Like, you are a savant in business. You're a huge inspiration. You've been through a huge health journey. Mm-hmm. But what's something that God was doing that maybe the world doesn't know while you were building all this?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question because God did so much. And I didn't even know God. I didn't grow up with religion. I grew up with a single mom. And for a while, I spent a little bit of time on the streets, sober, because I had a relative that was alcoholic drug addict. My dad was. So I watched him and learned that I never wanted to be that, and landed in foster care for a brief moment, ran away from that. And God was with me the whole time, but I didn't know it. And so I finally landed in a great place where I learned what family means, where hard work, integrity. And so I think that's where he showed up the most for me if I look back. But it wasn't until 2015 that I accepted Jesus into my life, and my whole world changed after that. I had been diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's, and let me just tell you, I prayed when I didn't even know God for my husband and a family. Because when you grow up with a single mom, you have no siblings, you have no, there's no family traditions there. You're just getting by, you're surviving. And so I prayed for a family. I had friends that had families, and I was always so envious of what they had and eating dinner together and all of that. And so God blessed me with a husband and 3 beautiful children that are now young adults. I can't believe how fast it goes, Emily. Watch out. And I started doing family traditions, and one of them was Friday Fun Night, where we did movies and games and ate pizza. And one day I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed, and I was so sick, and that's when I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's. But one thing I never shared before that I've just started sharing this last year because I think it's so important is that I believe I would not have been diagnosed with Sjogren's or lupus had I not experienced the trauma I experienced at the age of 12 when I ran away from home. And that trauma I was so shameful of, I never shared it with anyone, and I buried it. And then at the age of 40, it manifested itself into illness. And the doctors have said that to me. They've said, we believe the trauma you experienced is why your body started attacking itself. Like, it just couldn't deal with the trauma anymore. So I always say, if I'm speaking to anybody really about this story, I always say you have to deal with your trauma. And traumas can be really big, like a sexual assault, which is what I experienced. Or it can be something as small as a coach who maybe said something that just rocked your world. You got to deal with it. Otherwise, it manifests itself into illness. If you bury it and you're thinking about it, and maybe you have nightmares about it like I did, and you never deal with it, you're bound to get sick.
The book that I just thought of is The Body Keeps Score.
Yes, it does.
And I actually have not read it. I've just read the Cliff Notes, and I need to read it. Do you think, you getting into business, did it cause you to just go deep and focus on that without taking care of the health issues over here?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think too, just growing up with a single mom, I put myself through college. I don't know, Emily, how I graduated from junior high and high school. I think they just had a lot of empathy on me and pushed me through. But I didn't have a lot of guidance then, and I really don't remember what my grades were like. Nobody was pushing me, but during college, I was always working, supporting myself, and I worked for a man named Ken Grossman. He is the founder and creator of Sierra Nevada Brewery. And so he was my first mentor from the age of 18 to 22. He taught me what it's like to work hard, what it's like to be in your business. He gave me my first 401k at the age of 18. He's really good to his employees. And he was a great male figure in my life at that time and an example of what hard work could do. And what entrepreneurship is all about. And so that's where I got my taste of it. But yeah, it wasn't until many years later I accepted Jesus into my life in 2015. It was on Halloween night. I couldn't go trick-or-treating because I could not walk. My husband took the kids out trick-or-treating, and I was listening to Beth Moore, Book of James, who somebody had sent to me. And in the middle of it, she stops and she has you accept Jesus. And I felt something different. I wish I could say I jumped out of bed and I was healed, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But I felt something different. And then by the end of that year, Cauliflower had launched because I wanted to bring back that tradition of pizza and board games or movies with my kids. And I needed to find a pizza I could eat. And I had learned that I needed to use food as medicine and go gluten-free, grain-free. So there was nothing in the grocery stores then. There's so much now.
Right.
But there was nothing then. There was Udi's, which made me more sick than a Domino's pizza.
So you pioneered this thing.
Well, okay, so I'm going to give Rachel Ray some credit here because
Okay,
I found
Rachel Ray.
Yeah. I found her recipe online. Full circle moment, I ended up being on her show many years later and donating to her soup kitchen. But I found her recipe and I just played with it. And I was really sold on it because my oldest son, who hated vegetables, actually loved it and would eat it. And so I was like, okay, there's something here. And so, yeah.
So after, because I make some great recipes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. But I really don't. But I try. But after you make this incredible recipe,
which failed multiple times. For anyone that's made a cauliflower pizza crust from scratch, they're like, yeah, right, she did not perfect that right away. It fails a lot.
Walk me through the thought process though. Like, did you think, I want to bring this to market?
No.
How did you do that? How do you find the right people?
Yeah, so this is where the story is. First of all, I did not create the cauliflower pizza. I created it to serve the person I once was, which was a sick person. And I had to go gluten-free, grain-free, and I wanted that family tradition. How it became really a $1 billion brand, because cauliflower is a $1 billion brand now. There was nothing cauliflower in the grocery store except for a head of cauliflower. There wasn't even cauliflower rice at the time. And so basically I perfected that recipe and I got really healthy. When the doctors diagnosed me with lupus and Sjogren's, they put me on shots of steroids and they put me on Plaquenil, which is a drug that everybody talked about during COVID, which is horrific, has horrific side effects. And they also put me on Wellbutrin for depression. And I was just a hot mess. And I'm like, I've got to get off these, especially the steroids, because they will make you crazy. They will keep you awake all night. And I wasn't sleeping. So basically, I was like, okay, I need to use food as medicine. And I did the elimination diet and realized I needed to go grain-free, gluten-free. And that's how I found that recipe. So then I wanted to help other people. I was also pre-diabetic and I didn't realize it. Yeah, and so I started helping type 2 diabetics be able to eat pizza again. And I was doing healthy happy hours and really helping a lot of people. And in 2016, by then we had gone to farmers market, which I did farmers market for one reason, just to teach my kids how to work and talk to strangers.
Okay, so I didn't know this element of your story.
So farmers market it started, and then a couple grocery stores picked it up. And then I had a previous business, an online clothing store. And so I knew e-commerce. And I was like, okay, well, this pizza crust is fully baked. Let me put it on e-commerce. And in 2016, I think my biggest month was maybe 16,000. And I realized at the end, it was actually January 3rd, 2017. I remember it like it was yesterday. First time I ever got on my hands and knees. My husband had just had a heart-to-heart talk with me and said, Amy, you have run through our savings account. Like 269,000 gone. Our garage that we were going to build, you used that money. All of it was going to Cauliflower because I was helping so many people, but the margins were horrific. I didn't have the power to get the discounted materials for it.
Wholesale.
Yeah, thank you. Wholesale. Yeah. And so the margins were horrific, but I still wanted to help people. So I literally, in January 3rd of 2017, got on my hands and knees, and I said, God, and the first time I ever went on my hands and knees, I'm like, you got to shut this business down because my ego isn't going to let me, and my heart isn't going to let me, and I have all these letters from people, and you're going to need to shut it down for me or make it successful if you want. Like, that's an option, but I can't go forward because I can't go into our retirement. I can't go into any of our investments.
Yes.
And my husband was in the bed sleeping, and I was on my hands and knees praying. And that night, I went to sleep, and I had a very vivid dream, and it was tell Jesse's story. And Jessie was one of the women that came to me, single mom of 4, overweight. Her youngest was severely autistic, nonverbal. The doctor put her on a low-carb diet, and Jessie reached out and said, would you send us some pizza crust? Because Kenzie, the severely autistic daughter, loves pizza, but she just went on a low-carb diet. And it turns out my pizza was low-carb, which I never planned. It wasn't planned to be low-carb. It just happened to be gluten-free, grain-free, low-carb. And so I had this, like, dream or vision, very vivid, tell Jesse's story. So I had one employee at the time, right? The biggest month we ever had was 16,000 in a month. And we were negative 269,000 in the business, which doesn't sound like much now, but at the time it was catastrophic for us. And I called my one employee and I said, I dreamt that we're supposed to tell Jesse's story. And she said, okay, well, you better call Jessie. And I called her, and she was like so excited. She was like, okay, I'll be the Jessie of Cauliflower Foods, like the Jared of Subway without the perversion. And I'm like, okay, literally quote. And so we put that on Facebook, January 4th of 2017. By the end of January, we had sold 126,000 in pizza sales, which was more than we had done in the entire year of 2016. God opened so many doors for me. All of a sudden, I was on the Food Network. Manit Shahan was one of my, from the Food Network. She became one of my advisors. The Tennessee Titans picked up our plant-based crust. And by the end of 2017, we had done 5.3 million in sales. And it was all God. Everything
I have
he
the
opened,
God bumps.
Oh, and it just kept going. He was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. We're going.
Okay, I got to pause because
Okay.
this is like a teaching moment for everybody.
Yeah.
Stories sell.
Yes, they do.
Facts tell, but stories
Jessie,
with a testimonial.
Yes.
That's a solution.
So let me tell you about Jessie's story because we had been sending her pizza crust for over 7 months. And she said, come visit me. She lived about an hour and a half away from me. I went up to visit her. And when she opened the door, I about fell over. She had lost 90 pounds eating low carb because she had to sit down and eat in order for Kenzie to eat. And Kenzie came running up to me and grabbed my legs and said, thank you.
Aww.
Like actually was no longer nonverbal and was going to be able to go to kindergarten with an aid. So we shared that story. That was the story. And at the time, Facebook was shutting down before and afters. So you couldn't do the weight loss part of it.
Yeah.
But you could obviously see in the picture of Jesse's before picture with Kenzie as nonverbal, and then the after picture, which was that day I went to visit her. We took a bunch of pictures just on our cell phone, and that's what we shared, and that went viral. That story went viral. And you're right, stories definitely sell.
Yeah.
And authentic, true stories.
Authentic, true stories. People can tell if you're faking it all day.
Yes. And it drives me nuts because there are a lot of false stories out there. And there's a lot of false stuff going on in the food industry, which people are starting to expose. I mean, people are getting smarter. But yeah, so that story. So then, and I'm not here to, I give all the glory to God, really.
Yeah.
I give all the glory to God and my team. And in 2018, we became the #1 pizza crust on Amazon. So we beat out Boboli, Mama Mary's. Try to say both those names at the same time. we beat those pizza crusts out, and we were selling a pizza crust every 6 seconds online.
Oh my God.
And God was just opening doors. We were the pizza crust for the cast of Hamilton. So we were going to New York a lot and traveling with them. We're doing pizza parties for them, which was awesome. And we were at the Food Network show. We were at the ESPYs, Emmys, Teen Choice Awards.
So your life was just... I mean, what was
all
that?
All of a sudden, well, I've had a couple businesses prior, but I never had the kind of employees or the manufacturing. And it sounds like it was all easy peasy. No, it was really difficult.
Tell me a couple roadblocks personally and professionally you had.
So personally, I didn't know how to balance being a mom of 3 and growing that fast. It was very difficult on my family, and they didn't want to tell me because they saw the success happening, and they didn't want to stop that for me. But when I look back and when I talk to moms now that are starting businesses, it would have been as successful even if I had done a couple less trips, a couple less hours. If I would have I was grinding. And you do have to grind as an entrepreneur. You got to get scrappy. But you can also, I think you'll be more successful if you balance it. And I see that now because that's how I handle my current business. I balance it. It's very important. And I didn't realize, lately I've been doing a lot of soul searching and looking at pictures back then. And I weighed like 30 pounds less. I was 11 years younger. But if you look at me, I was on Dr. Oz. I look so swollen. It was all inflammation. Oh, wow. A lot of inflammation. Even though I was eating right, I wasn't sleeping. I was going. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think balancing and just if you're a mom, still be that mom. Your business is going to grow as much as you grow. And part of that growth is learning how to balance being a mom, being a wife, your personal life. It's important.
What do you think about people that say, I don't believe in balance? You know, because I hear people say that. And, you know, as I'm obviously about to become a first-time mom, I'm like, dude, how can you, like, neglect your kids? But then I deeply so much relate to you. I was raised by a single mom, and she literally just had to do what she had to do. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to play volleyball. I wouldn't get to go to summer camp. Like, she had to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, my mom worked a lot, too. Yeah, definitely. You know, there is some truth to that. I believe that. But you've done it right. You grinded. You worked so hard. And now you're in a great place and you have a great company where you can step back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think when Cauliflower was growing so fast, I had an amazing team. I could have stepped back a little bit. I needed to release some of that. I needed to trust more. I have trust issues, childhood.
Yeah.
You know, they can't do it as well as me. I'll do it myself, kind of. And I had a great team, and they could have handled a lot more if I would have just released it. And so, yeah, I think to be successful, you got to work really hard. During COVID, I started a business called Brick and Mortar to Click and Order. So I was helping brick and mortar businesses that were shutting going online. Now, I only did a handful of them, but I remember this one woman and they are crushing it now. But she was still working, and her business, her food business was like a hobby. And I said, I hate to say this, and I don't know if you can quit your job, but you're going to need to leave Microsoft, and you're going to have to make this like your full-time gig. You're going to have to work really hard in the food industry to make this super successful. Otherwise, it's just a hobby for you right now. And she isn't a mom yet, so she quit, and now they are in so many doors, and they've won like so many awards, and she's thanked me profusely. She's like, I would have never quit Microsoft had you not told me that. But sometimes it can just be a hobby, and I know everybody says replace your income by 3 before you quit your job and go to the next thing, but sometimes you have to make it more than just a hobby to make it successful.
I think sometimes you got to just burn the boats.
Yeah. And
you do, because if you're comfortable with the hobbies cost you money. At least mine do.
Yes,
shopping.
That's a great thing.
All
Hobbies
the
cost you money.
They do. They usually don't pay. You know, and you have to have. You got to cut the cord at some point to go all in. Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. What do you believe your superpower is in business? Like, what is one thing that you're like, this is Amy Lacey?
I see the white space. I see a need, and I'm like, oh, I can make this happen. Like the cauliflower pizza crust. And we actually coined the phrase, if cauliflower can be a pizza crust, girl, you can be anything. Well, we never could get that actually trademarked, but that we actually started that.
That's her. Yeah.
And I believe I see white space, like my current company. Nobody had that supplement. I saw a need for it, and we went for it. And
yes. So I want to talk about.
But wait, I want to go back to the motherhood really quick, because I have one piece of advice for moms that I think works beautifully. And somebody gave this advice to me, and I did it with my teenagers. You can buy yourself a lot of time as a mom by just giving your kids 15 to 30 minutes. It sounds weak, doesn't sound like enough. And of course, as a baby, a brand new baby, you can't do this. So this isn't advice for you yet. Okay. But if you just sit down with them and do what they want to do, not what you think they should do, not let's read a book and learn your ABCs. Let's do what they want to do. For me, as teenagers, one of my sons was playing video games, and I used to think, all you do is play video games. How horrific. But I actually learned the video game he was playing and played with him, and it was actually quite educational. Aww. But if you spend 15 to 30 minutes doing what they want to do on their level, whether it's get down on the ground and build Legos or whatever it is, it will buy you hours of time. And that's what they'll remember. And you got to put your phone away and your computer away. Like, it has to be 100% their time. And it buys you so much time for other things. And I enjoy those times. So I cherish those moments with them. But I try to tell moms that are really busy, that are trying to, maybe they have a day job. I just spoke to a bunch of nurses. So they're trying to replace their income and not be a nurse anymore. And some of them have products. Some of them are coaches. And I just spoke to a bunch of nurses, and I'm like, and they're like, how do you balance it? Because I'm working these 12-hour shifts, and that was my advice to them, and it's worked for me. And I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that every season you just spend 15 to 30 minutes a day with your kids. I don't recommend that at all. But if it's a really busy season and you're working really hard, that 15 to 30 minutes will buy you hours of time. But it's got to be on their level. That's the key.
That's so good. And I'm sure like your kids have seen what you do, and they're catching what you do by your example. They see mom and dad going after their dreams.
Yeah.
And it's like they model us, and that, and true. I think it's like so many times parents can beat themselves up, and it's like, I vividly remember, and I will start wailing away crying if I talk too much about it, but I remember my mom every single day getting up and having like the little index note cards, and as a single mom, like she had to do it all, and she would write out like sweep floor, pick up these random groceries, like and it would always be on our kitchen counter. And we didn't have a lot, but everything we had was well kept. Everything.
Oh, I love that.
Like it was just order. Yeah. And that's how I grew up, and that is literally how I operate.
I love that.
And I just watched her. I watched her treat the CEO the same way as the janitor at my school. She knew his name, Bobby, and she knew his kids. And she actually looked him in the eyes when we walked past and he was sweeping the floor. And like, it's just, I modeled that. And I think sometimes parents, like, they're beating themselves up. And it's like, your kids have watched you whip some serious nays and they're going to be so successful because of it.
Well, Caroline just is graduating and she just did her project. And in the interview, she said that I was her biggest inspiration. I know, when I watched it, I started crying, and then I was such an example to her. And I dragged her to food shows, and they went in the manufacturing plant and they stunk like cauliflower. It is a stinky veggie to cook with. But yeah, I think I've also taught my kids the same lesson that your mom taught you, that everybody's important, everybody. And going back to that Sierra Nevada story, Ken, he would show up in overalls and people thought he was the maintenance man and wouldn't give him the time of day, but he was the owner of the company. But he would show up looking like that and working on, and people just took it for granted, didn't realize who he was. He's a multi-billionaire now. But I also taught my kids that one of the things really important is to be more interested than interesting. And so I always would tell them, like, ask people questions, but it has to be genuine. Like, what are you interested in when you meet them? What do you want to know about them? Because people love that.
Yeah,
and if you remember their name and remember something about them, it goes so far in life.
So far.
Yeah, so always be more interested than interesting. And my kids are blessed. They've lived a charmed, blessed life, but they don't take it for granted because they've seen the other side of it. I've taken them places where they've seen the other side. We do a lot of charity, and I think that's super important.
Yes.
To give back.
100%.
When I sold Cauliflower, this is another piece of advice. When I sold Cauliflower, COVID had hit. I hadn't started the brick and mortar and click and order yet. And it was like a full circle moment. I got really depressed. I didn't know who I was anymore.
After you sold it.
After I sold it. We moved. I told my husband we would move wherever he wanted to go. And so we bought our dream house on the water in Florida, moved from California to Florida. That was his choice, not mine, being a born and raised Californian. And I had everything on paper, right? I had sold my business. I had money. I bought my first brand new car. I always bought used cars before. And I had the dream home, but I got really depressed because I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. And I was like, what am I doing now? And it was like a full circle moment. I started getting sick again because I was depressed. And my realtor said two things to me. She was just like, no holds back. Where's your Bible? Because it was still packed in a box. I hadn't pulled it out. I hadn't been praying. And she's like, get out of your way and start helping other people. The best thing for depression is to help and serve others.
Straight up.
And that's where brick and mortar and click and order came about. And actually, Pete Vargas helped me design that. And we helped some people. And boom, I was back to myself again.
You got your sparkle back.
I got my sparkle back.
You know, something we talk a lot about on Called and Crowned, and it was one of my top episodes ever, is the messy middle. It's like, I think people just have this idea that I'm going to arrive and it's going to be like, you know? No. And yeah, so after having this exit, and I'd love for you to talk about what you learned from the exit in terms of when was it a good time to do it? Did you do it? Do you feel like, what lessons did you learn?
Yeah.
And how could the ordinary woman take this and apply this to her life?
Those are some really good questions. So it was 2019, and I had just done a cookbook that was a national bestseller, and I was riding the biggest high. I had been on all kinds of shows, The Doctors, Dr. Oz, Home and Family with Cameron Matheson, who I adore, by the way, and just KTLA and all kinds of different shows, and just doing really well, had EBITDA, and I started getting offers for my company, and I was like, no, because we were doing really well. And then a major fire broke out. Actually, towards the end of 2018, the major fire happened, and it burned down the town of Paradise, California, which is called the Camp Fire. It's one of the biggest fires in California history. And so that's where my extended family lived. My mom, my stepdad, she did get remarried, my aunt. and their houses didn't actually burn down, but they couldn't live in them because there was no running water and no electricity. So they came and stayed with me. And I saw that as a sign. I actually thought it was a sign from God that it was time to sell and help everybody, because I could afford to help people. And because their houses didn't burn, but they couldn't live in them, they didn't get insurance. So they were in a pickle. It was an issue. So that's what made me take one of the offers. I will tell you, because it was 2019, April of 2019, in the food industry, we didn't have like Poppy just sold to Pepsi.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't have the female founders selling like that back then.
It certainly was not.
So at the very last hour, I had several offers. And at the last hour of the one particular offer I took, the VCs, venture capitalists, decided to change my valuation of my company and lowered it. And my gut said, don't take this deal. And it was going to be money off the table for our family. But my husband said, take the deal anyways. And my team was like, take the deal. And I knew in my gut I shouldn't have taken the deal. And so I feel like, listen to your gut. Always listen to your gut. Because if you fast forward a year, the venture capitalists said they would never change the recipe. They did. And they did what venture capitalists do. I'm not trying to rip on them, because I have a lot of gratitude for them now, because I wouldn't be where I am today without them. But they changed the recipe. They fired my team, who built the company, who knew the company inside and out. It was more about the margins than the customers. And that is one piece of advice I will always stick with. It's customers first, customer experience, everything customer first, not the margins. And yes, you got to know your numbers, but it's got to be customers first. Always. And then they put me on sabbatical. And when they put me on sabbatical, they changed all my passwords. So I had no longer access to the company. And that's when the depression and everything really hit. But I would say listen to your gut, because definitely I knew when they changed that valuation on the last hour and the lawyers were like, don't do the deal. And I did it anyways. And you know why I did it? Why? I did it for the money. And you never do anything for the money. Don't do it for the money. The money will come. Do the right things, and do the right things for the right people. Serve as best you can. Be more interested than interesting. And really serve the person you once were, because you're an expert in that. And do not, if your gut is telling you something, don't do it. But you know, God has a funny way of showing up even in that. So the rejection I felt was really his protection and redirection. Because what happened is, during the brick and mortar click and order, I was able to hire some of those employees that got fired.
Nice.
Which was great. Yeah. Because when they immediately got fired, they were devastated. I was able to do that. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I didn't have the best relationship with my mom, through everything that happened. I did move my mom and my stepdad to Florida, and my aunt, and I was able to go to all her appointments because I was on sabbatical. So I have a lot of gratitude for that experience. At the time, I was mad and angry, which you should never, you can't have gratitude and anger at the same time. Right. It just doesn't exist. Now I can look back and I have so much gratitude because I got to go to every radiation appointment. And had I not done that, I would have never discovered the fruit soursop, which has been life-saving for our family. But I also built this really closeness with my mom that didn't exist, and I was able to be there for her. But at the time, I didn't see it that way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm so grateful now.
Something you've said, and I quote, forgiveness is a decision you make, and healing is a process.
Yes, absolutely.
Expand on this.
So you have the choice to forgive, and it is solely your choice. For example, the person that sexually assaulted me, I actually found that person on Facebook. Now, I didn't share with anybody what happened, and I had a lot of shame with that, because the night that happened, I actually let him in the house, and I trusted him. And
how old were you?
12. Yeah. And I never talked about it for years. Yeah, I was 12. And he covered my mouth and did what he did, right? And I basically blamed myself because I had let him in and I didn't fight. And I'm a fighter. Like, if somebody's going to do something to me, watch out. I'm going to go postal on you.
I'd be scared.
I'm going to go nuts on you. I'm not going to just lay there. And so I had a lot of shame around that. So I looked him up on Facebook and I found him and I just chose to forgive him. But more importantly, I chose to forgive myself because I had carried all that shame of letting him in and not fighting and just laying there. I know this is a really disturbing subject, but I'll tell you, I just started sharing this story over the last year and a half. And every single time, I was just a guest on a podcast a couple days ago. Every time I share the story, somebody comes up to me and tells me they had the same experience. And the lady that was interviewing me is like, I haven't shared my experience. And I said, your body, it's probably fighting against you. You've got inflammation. You've got to release that. So for me, the biggest thing was forgiving myself. And when I say that forgiveness is a choice and healing is a process, that depends on what works for you. For me, during COVID, during that depression, my family did have like a little intervention on me. Now, the realtor was right. I needed to serve other people.
Yeah.
That was the true healing and get in the word. But I did go to counseling and I did do EMDR for trauma therapy. And that was amazing. And journaling for me was huge. And breath work, a lot of breath work.
Yeah.
So I think the healing is a process. I think it depends on what works for you. But the first step is forgiveness, whether it's the person or yourself. And for me, it was both. And I had to forgive my mom for the raging. I had to forgive myself for running away from that. I had to forgive my dad for being an alcoholic drug addict. And I had a lot of gratitude for him because a lot of the counselors are like, you shouldn't be who you are. You shouldn't be married for 28 years with 3 kids and successful business. You should be on the street, probably a prostitute, probably a drug addict or an alcoholic based on what your dad was, based on what you went through, based on being a runaway. You shouldn't be the success you are. It's interesting. I was in a mastermind. I'm not going to say which one. I was surrounded by 7, 8, 9-figure earners. And we were all in a table. And I was actually one of 4 women there. The rest were all men. 95 of them were men. And the stories over and over were of scrappy, very successful people that had come from troubled childhoods. Very successful. One lived in a chicken coop for a while with his 11 brothers and sisters. Another one went to prison for robbing cars and learned how to code in prison, came out, sold his business. It was interesting, that table. Nobody had a normal Leave It to Beaver childhood. I'm aging myself. I am 56. You probably never have seen that show. But
No, I know.
I didn't have that special family, and none of them did either. And I learned, and there's studies out there that prove it, that to be a really successful entrepreneur, or some of the most successful entrepreneurs, came from...
Girl, it's true.
I know.
It's so true. At events we've both spoken at, when people tell like their Genesis story, you're like, hold on a minute. This is, but the thing is, that's so cool. And I know, I just see a woman right now pushing her stroller, listening to us, and she's like excited because she knows she's the one. That she's the one that's going to break that cycle, and you're the one. And I talk about generational transference and breaking generational curses. And it's like, God went to war with the devil for you. Yeah. Like, he fought for you so hard, and he put these earthly angels in your path. The realtor, dude, read your Bible, serve others, right? All of these things that have expanded you and opened you up. It's just so amazing. And, I do believe people like yourself, you're able to handle more because look at how you grew up.
Yeah. But I also want to say something to the people out there, like maybe a lot of the people that have joined your business. This is a great example. People shut down with no. And you get a lot of no's.
Girl, we get rejected up in here.
Yeah, you get no's all the time.
Yes.
And I just say no is next opportunity.
Okay.
You've got to, you just have to not take it personal. Don't go hiding because somebody said no to you. And probably you can make it a yes with that person. Imagine, I say this all the time to my kids. Think about the cauliflower pizza crust. Are you kidding? It was the last veggie standing on a veggie tray. Nobody likes cauliflower. It wasn't a vegetable that people, ate very often. And here I am making a cauliflower pizza crust. You know how many no's I got? How many people? I mean, truth be told, when Trader Joe's came out with cauliflower rice, it opened a couple doors for me. But it was no, nobody's going to eat this. Nobody's ever going to eat a cauliflower pizza. And then cauliflower became a multi-billion-dollar category. Not my company, unfortunately, and not me, but a multi-billion-dollar category. I mean, there's even cauliflower ice cream now. So that just, it's true. Like, no's were just left and right, and it just had to be a next opportunity. And yeah, there were many times where I went in the bathroom and just cried. And I was like, okay, that person just told me no. I'm done. I'm quitting. And no, you can't quit. You can learn from your failures, and that's the best way to learn more than your success. You hear that all the time from people, and it's true, but you can't quit. You cannot quit. You got to keep going.
I think most people quit before it's really good. Like
Yes.
before their podcast pops off, they quit.
Yes.
Before they get the speaking gig, they quit, or they're not
Yes.
willing to do it for free.
Yes.
Before, like it's like they stop on the 10-yard line. I've seen so many really good people stop before they're going to become great.
Yes.
And
And why do you think that is? I have a theory on it.
you have a theory?
Well, I think it's because they get in their own way. They have an ego. They get embarrassed. And the best thing you can do for yourself is the baby kicking.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. The baby loves this topic.
He does.
No, the best thing you can do is embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
Just get comfortable with being embarrassed.
That's right. I always say get over yourself.
Yeah, get over yourself, get
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And you can only do that by repeating it, going over and over. And I got really comfortable being told no. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make this no is next opportunity. And I'm going to make it happen.
Do you think you were able to hyper focus because you believed in your product and you had a lot invested in it? Because one of the things, listen, I'm not talking to you right now, but I might be talking to you right now. It's like, oh, there's a butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
And a squirrel. And I see it on my social with really awesome women. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, ooh, here, there, and everywhere. And I'm like, dude, no wonder why nothing sticks. You're all over the place.
Yeah.
What is your ability to focus? Because clearly you had to focus to make this thing pop.
That's a hard one. That's really hard. Focus is very hard because, especially in the beginning, when you're not sure, if you're not confident in what it can do for you. And that's why I say serve the person you once were, because for me, I knew what it was doing for me to go gluten-free, grain-free. I knew, and I couldn't create multiple products at the time. We did eventually. I focused on the one product that brought my family back together for family fun night. And that was really important to me. And so, yeah, focus is hard. And I have been, known to be that person you just described. It's really difficult. And I think that, I often talk about the 5 Ps of my business. So real quick, because
Yes.
I think it kind of pertains
Yes.
to this a little bit. Obviously, you got to be passionate. I mean, there are women out there right now that are promoting, like, go buy the laundromat, go buy the car wash. Yes, they're cash cows. But who's going to run it every day? Like, is it going to be you? Do you really love being in a laundromat? Because, maybe that isn't the best business for you. I think you go into business and you're passionate and you stick to that passion. What are you really passionate about? What really drives you? And when it doesn't work at first, keep going, keep persevering. That's another P that I talk about in the business. Perseverance. There's a lot of highs and a lot of lows when you're successful in business. And so you've got to learn, what is it going to be to get you out of bed to persevere through the lows? For me, it was testimonials and letters from people, hands down, just serving people. And then people's another thing. Like, you got to surround yourself with the right kind of people, right? For me, it's like, don't be unequally yoked, because
Yeah.
I've had it backfire in my face. But also, like, look for those people that have done it bigger and better, and you want to be like them.
Yeah.
Because those people actually really want to help you. I mean, I think about you guys. I think about what Sarah does. I think about what you do. You mentor people. Like, you rise people up. You love that. You thrive on that. And I love that during the brick and mortar click and order. I love mentoring other women. We gave out scholarships to women left and right for new businesses. It was kind of the Sarah Blakely story where she started with 5,000. So we were giving 5,000 out inspired by her story.
Wow.
And I started with basically 5,000 to start out. I know I went way negative and I told that story already, but so people, and ask people for help. People want to help other people.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And so passion, perseverance, people, paying it forward for sure. Well, I get a lot of people that say, well, how do you know what you should do? Like, how do you know what product in the product-based business? How do you know what product? Or how do you know how to be a good coach? What should I coach on? And a lot of people say, well, find what you're an expert at. When I say serve the person you once were, like if you were sick like I was, what healed you? And then there's going to be other people like you out there. If you're a parent that overcame something like autism, be an autistic coach, something like that. Like serve the person you once were, because that is really important. Somebody said that to me. I can't claim that quote, and it stuck with me. And I'm like, yeah, serve the person you once were. In my current company, I was helping my mom through her cancer journey, and I was eating the products too. And I realized they were really, my inflammation levels went down to normal.
This is the sour
sop.
Yeah.
My inflammation levels went to normal for like the first time ever. And so if you look at my pictures and some of the things I did in Cauliflower, I weighed 30 pounds less, but I looked 30 pounds heavier because I was so inflamed and so puffy. And so serving the person you once were and paying it forward and sharing with other people, that's another P of my business. And then the product, it's got to be authentic. And especially in 2026, because people can see right through it, and you've got Claude and you've got chat and people can learn a lot more. Like, again, don't do something because, oh, this has great, I see it in the supplement industry and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I see products left and right coming out on Amazon that are garbage because they're just looking for a quick buck.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And unfortunately, the layman person isn't sure what to do. So my recommendation is look at the founder, look at the people behind the products. And I love, like, I know this is called and crowned, but I love that Roger is very active and talking about Shackley because that's what it takes. Like, you've got to know the person behind the brand and what they stand for.
And this is why we're doing Amy Lacey's brand. You know, it's like, here we have this brilliant woman you're not just brilliant in business, but your heart is so good and you tell it like it is. That's one of the best things I appreciate about you is, there's no smoke and mirrors. And
I feel like you're like that too.
This is why my heart though appreciates your heart, because it's, trust me, like sometimes people don't really say how it is because of fear of how they look and yada yada. And it's really exciting time for you right now because you're leaning into your personal brand.
Yes.
And we have Amy Lacey, we have Faithfully Found. Tell me why you're here. She's at FD House, for Divine House. Why? And how long have you been thinking about this?
So I've been thinking about this for years. I have a book where every time I saw God in my business or my personal life, I would jot a note down. And I was like, gosh, I really don't know how people do it without their faith. I don't know how I did it before I had any faith in my life. I really don't. I lived a very anxious life. I had nightmares. I can remember having like night sweats. I can remember being impulsive and making decisions out of fear. I didn't lean into my faith. I just got done having one of the hardest years of my life this last year in 2025. I don't know what I would have done without my faith. And before I accepted Jesus into my life, that year when I got really sick, I contemplated suicide. I literally wanted, I felt like I was no longer a good mom or a good wife. And I called my husband one day at work and I'm like, would our insurance policy, my life insurance policy, pay you if I committed suicide? And he literally dropped everything and came home. And that was before I had faith. And like this last year, the IRS came at us with a vengeance. I've never been audited by the IRS. I'm always paying my taxes. I have a lot of friends that do all these tax strategists, and I probably should have had one after Cauliflower. But this is right after I sold the rest of my shares. So I got audited last year for the year 2022. for $500,000. It was a huge audit. And I knew I was in the right, but it's really hard to prove them wrong. And we did everything we could, and we were relieved of it actually yesterday. I told the story, so it's really forefront. Yeah, we were relieved of it yesterday. Our congressman helped us too. But I leaned into my faith. I watched my husband stress. His faith isn't as strong. I watched him stress, and I just leaned into faith. I'm like, God's got this. We've done the right things. This is not a misunderstanding. This is an IRS agent that doesn't understand e-commerce, to be honest with you, and doesn't understand influencers and doesn't understand what it costs to run that part of the business with affiliates, and wasn't going to allow us to write off those expenses, really. And so they came back at us for that. And I'm like, no, we've done the right things. We paid our taxes. We did the right thing. It's going to come through. I'm leaving it up to God. And if for some reason it doesn't, I've seen it when the venture capitalist rejected me. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. It was just protection and redirection. So I want to tell those stories. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. I want to tell those stories from stage. I want to write the book. I want people to make God their CEO, because when I did, that's when the business went nuts and went viral. And the only way that would have happened is through him. The doors that opened, it's impossible without him. Impossible. Amen. And so that's one of the reasons. The other thing is I have learned so much about forgiveness and what it can do in your life, and the release it has, and the health benefits of forgiveness. And there are big corporations out there that have employees that are stagnant and can't do what they should do because they haven't been able to forgive either themselves or somebody. And so doing the forgiveness factor and really studying it and really looking at all the studies on it and talking to different doctors about it has allowed me to kind of put together a formula that I think really fits. I can't share it with you right now because it's too long. Okay. But I want to share it with the world.
Is this going to be in the book?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to share it with
She'll
the world.
She'll come back for when it comes out.
But I want to, and you kind of gave me that inspiration of the forgiveness factor. You came up with that name, girl. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I think this is something.
Yeah.
And so that opened up so many doors for me, just forgiving myself. And it's funny, the first time I ever shared that story of being sexually assaulted, it was a small room of women. There was 12 of us there, and 6 of them had experienced something. And I don't want to bash on men, because 2 of them, it wasn't from a man. It's from another woman.
Wow.
So I don't want to just bash on men on that, but I'm just saying that it's, you think you're the only one. You think you're the only one that's ever experienced this. Sharing is, that old saying, sharing is caring. You'd be surprised. I was shocked at how many women had experienced something very similar, let it happen, didn't fight back, kept it inside. And so it's just so important.
It's so important because you carry that shame for so many years of your life. And it hinders little elements of your life. There was one woman I was talking to, and she was like, I think I'm just not a sexual being. I think I don't like sex. I'm not sexy. And she had all these strongholds because she had been raped when she was young. And I'm like, you don't feel safe, even with your own husband.
Yep.
That's where healing comes in.
Exactly.
And sometimes, like for me, when I was not healed, I would lash out in like anger. I would have anger spells where it was straight up like demonic if I look back on it.
Yeah.
Like all roads is like healing. It's going to be so much better if you get healed. And I love that you're a woman as strong as you are in business, but you're willing to go there.
Yeah.
You're willing to go there because I believe who we are is typically what we attract and who we attract.
I believe that too.
And there's a lot of powerful females that are inspired by you, but they put up these masks or walls, and it's like, let's let the walls come down, and let's also be feminine and obviously pull into our masculine when we need it. But your work is so powerful, and I know that God is going to just continue to release all this for you in this next 12 to 24 months. I'm just going to say that right now.
Thank you.
Because you're being obedient and you're stepping into it.
Yeah.
right?
And I have a couple things to say on what you just said. One thing about raging, which is what I call what you talked about, that uncontrollable anger. Raging, I learned a lot about raging because that's what my mom used to do, and I never knew what I was going to get, which is part of the reason why I ran away. I never knew what she was going to be like after she came home from work. And a lot of times it was yelling and then crying. Raging is not necessarily just anger. It's being scared and not having control, feeling out of control. That's what raging is, which is what you described just then. And I don't know if that's how you felt at that time. But again, faith. And when I talk to people, I don't always just, I'm not trying to pound God. I'm like, whatever their belief is, they just have to have, for me, it is God and Jesus, but it could be the universe, whatever it is, they've got to have something that there is a higher power to give that to. Because again, what you described, the anger is really just raging, and it's lack of control, and it's being scared. And there's no reason to live in fear, right? If you can give it to something or someone, and I give it to God, and it works so well. It works so well. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the woman you were just referencing. I've been married 28 years. I definitely had some intimacy issues. And it wasn't until I went through EMDR and conquered those intimacy issues that now, and then going through the change too, because I'm 56. Now that is like opened up all kinds of doors. My husband's like, this is the best years of our life. Like, I mean, I don't mean to go there, but
no,
seriously,
you can.
like, if you deal with that, if you have been somebody that's been sexually assaulted, deal with it just for your intimacy issues, if nothing else. And I think, you know, I used to wear, okay, this is getting really TMI. Well, I used to wear granny panties. I don't know, maybe a way of protecting myself. Costco granny panties. No, I ditched all that. I started buying thongs and lingerie and sleeping
link
that
it
way.
For us, Amy. Link it.
It's changed everything. You are like, you got to wear what you are. You got to be that confident person. That's why I love that we did the photo shoot today. And I love that I worked with you guys because it just feels good. Put on the nice things, and you are, you know, you are what you put out there. You really are, and you do attract what you put out there.
100%.
So if you want your husband to be super attracted to you and not to anybody else, which I think is really important, and I have gone through some betrayal there, it's important to, and you will feel so beautiful too. You will feel so different. You know, I weigh more than I usually weigh, and working on that, but I feel so beautiful at night, and I'm just like,
oh my God, I
like
love
a wild
it.
Animal. No, I'm kidding. No, but I do have a lot of fun now. And my husband's like, oh wow, we should have discovered EMDR years ago.
God, we need forgiveness, everyone.
Forgiveness,
okay, and some whip. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm getting I'm just getting wild. No, we absolutely do. In all seriousness, what can people expect from you moving forward? And tell them where to find you.
Yeah. So what can they expect from me? Well, I hope that the current business I have eventually sells. I hope to promote other wellness products that other people have created.
You expect to.
Especially if they're really good, solid. And that's, again, why I say look at the founder and look at the behind the scenes of the products. I think it's really important for that. I can't stress that enough because there's a lot of fraud out there. And so I think continuing to find the white space and helping other people find their white space, what doesn't exist yet, maybe in their world or in the world in general. I love that. I love helping other female entrepreneurs. I'm not one of those catty women. I'm one that's like, bring it, come.
Yeah, you're a girl's girl.
I'm a girl's girl.
Yeah,
I definitely want to continue doing that. I would love to bring people to God, because I've just seen what a difference it's made in my life. It's just made such a huge difference. And anything, all of the above, anything I've experienced, I would be open to share with people. And so I do currently manage my own social media, which is kind of a hot mess, but I do answer in my DMs, and people can DM me.
And what's your handle?
Hey Amy Lacey on Instagram.
Hey.
And
Okay.
also on TikTok.
Amazing.
Which I just started being on TikTok because I'm conquering that embarrassment feature. If you can conquer your embarrassment, you can be wildly successful.
That is right.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, you are welcome back anytime. We love
Thank you. I love
so much.
both of you guys so much. Your whole team actually has been amazing.
It's the best team.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful space here.
Thank you.
People need to work with you.
Thank you. You guys go check out Hey Amy Lacey. Share this episode. We want to hear what are some of the key parts. I mean, maybe right now you're Googling some, fresh lingerie to get. Or maybe you're checking in with a therapist, or maybe you're motivated just to show up and not care what you look like. Whatever it is that stuck out, tag Hey Amy Lacey, and it's Emily and Called and Crowned. And until next time, go out there and shine your light. God bless.